My father's teddy bear, it has to be in his name. I mean, the bear. His name is Teddy Upchuck because my dad grew up on it. Had to make it so close. But you don't have to say anything about that. He was packed away and the box is taped and I just had to wait over. So.
Signing up for the Chaos Sunday?
I kind of figured it would be like this, so you just kind of roll with it.
Thanks for stepping in. I know it was last minute.
We're always happy to step in if you need a last minute anything. We're usually available, so. Oh.
We're ready to start here, which is, yeah, we'll give people a minute now that that bell's rung. Usually go off whatever the clock is running slower.
It's going.
Maybe this will put her to sleep fully, and then she'll sleep through the rest.
She does like music.
She does. She likes being bounced. I'll just bounce myself around.
We should pull this thing so people don't have to worm their way in to get them. Pull these up on the edge.
Oh no. Yes?
So Roger and everybody, in like 2 minutes I'll ring the bell, and then we'll just go off.
We'll just go right into the music.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the way I read the program.
Just
No. My animal needs a lot of blessing. My dog, he needs a lot of blessing.
They all do.
they all do.
He's a little bit of a demon dog. So.
Exercise?
An exorcism would be good.
is here, hear the yell. Back to school, ring the bell. Brand new shoes, walking blues. Climb the fence, books and pens. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. Walk with me, Susie Lee, through the park and by the tree. We will rest upon the ground and look at all the bugs we found. Safely walk to school without a sound. Safely walk to school without a sound. Well, here we are, no one else. We walk to school all by ourselves. There's dirt on our uniforms from chasing all the ants and worms. We clean up and now it's time to learn. We clean up and now it's time to learn. Numbers, letters, learn to spell. Nouns in books and show and tell. At playtime we'll throw the ball back to class through the hall. Teacher marks our height against the wall. Teacher marks our height against the wall. And we don't notice any time pass. We don't notice anything. We sit side by side in every class. Teacher thinks that I sound funny, but she likes the way you sing. Tonight I'll dream while in my bed, when silly thoughts go through my head about the bugs and the alphabet. And when I wake tomorrow I'll bet that you and I will walk together again. 'Cause I can tell that we are gonna be friends. I can tell that we are gonna be friends.
Good morning. My name is Amy Meller. I'm a worship associate in this church. We light a chalice at the beginning of each service as the symbol of our faith, and our chalice lighting reading today is from Mark Cossey. We light this chalice, spark of the original fire of creation, to remind us that all of us on the planet, the furred, the feathered, the finned, and the scaled, along with our featherless bipeds that we are all made from the same star stuff. We all share a common destiny. We all share hopes for a life free from harm and suffering. We all aspire to happiness, love, flourishing, being able to express our own unique natures and capacities as we may. We are each diverse perspectives from which the whole is seen and experienced. We and the animals are inextricably intertwined, interconnected, and interdependent, and it is good.
So welcome to the Unitarian Church of Lincoln on this Sunday morning. My name is the Reverend Oscar Sinclair. I join our worship associate Amy Miller on the chancel. The Unitarian Church of Lincoln, we say, aspires to be a loving community, uniting reason with spiritual experience to transform ourselves and the world. That's a big vision that we proclaim, and we know that loving community begins with welcome. Hey, kiddo. So whether this is your first time here or your 500th, If you came here hopeful or heartbroken, whatever your age, gender, skin color, whomever you love, whatever your species, you are welcome here. We'll get there. If it is your practice, go forth and share what has brought you here. We're about the work of transformation, we say. It is hard to transform the world without telling the world what we're about. So as we enter into worship, take a moment to center yourself in this place. Find a comfortable place in your chair. If you're on the live stream, find a comfortable place on your couch. Enjoy the silence of this space. And then realize that this is a couple things. One, this is an all ages service. So we say at the beginning of all ages services, don't worry if there are noises, because one of the sounds of a joyful church is the sound of children. This is also a blessing of the animals, so we have invited our members to bring their pets. And so there are dogs here. And so you may hear the dogs. You may smell the dogs. If there are accidents, we come equipped with Resolve paper towels and bags. They are prepped and ready to go. And as we begin, I do just want to say a couple words about why this service, because it is kind of a strange thing. This is the first time we've done one of these in person at the Unitarian Church of Lincoln. I first did a Blessing of the Animals in 2015 in Long Island. It was a service led by my mentor, Jennifer Brower. Yes. And before we started the service, I said, Jennifer, I don't know why we're doing this. I think it's kind of hokey. And she said, well, you're doing it because I'm your boss. But do it, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. And what we talked about afterwards was this. Life can be really lonely. And for a lot of people, a lot of us, sometimes our pets are the ones that love us best and that we love best. I'm in my 30s, I'm married, I have a small child and a job I love, and that's true of me, that my dog is sometimes the creature that loves me best and that I love best. Sorry, Steve. And I am very loved, I will say. So that's why we do this, to recognize that part of our lives. So with that, we'll start with our opening hymn, number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth. If you would rise in body or in spirit for this.
Our story today is called Strictly No Elephants by Lisa Manchev. And we're going to ask that children stay in their seats for the moment because there's a lot of microphones up here and a lot of critters in the chairs that we don't want to be disrupting. The trouble with having a tiny elephant for a pet is that you never quite fit in. No one else has an elephant. Every day I take my elephant for a walk. His is a very thoughtful sort of walk. He doesn't like the cracks in the sidewalk much. I always go back and help him over. That's what friends do. Lift each other over the cracks. Today I'm walking my tiny elephant to number 17. It's Pet Club Day and everyone will be there. Come along, that's a good boy. I coax him the last few feet. It'll be fine. When I look up, there's a sign on the door that says, "Strictly no elephants." My tiny elephant leads me back to the sidewalk, never minding the cracks. That's what friends do, brave the scary things for you. Did you try to go to the pet club meeting too? The girl asks. Yes, I say. But they don't allow elephants. The sign didn't mention skunks, the girl says, but they don't want us to play with them either. They don't know any better, I tell her. He doesn't stink, the girl adds. No, he doesn't, I agree. What if we start our own club? Come along, I say, making certain that my tiny elephant follows me. Because that's what friends do. Never leave anyone behind. We can play here, one of our new friends says, all of us. So we paint our own sign. All are welcome. Instead of the words, strictly no strangers or no spoil sports. No. My tiny elephant will give you directions if you need them. Because that's what friends do. And that is the end of our story. If you would please rise in body or spirit, our next hymn is number 163.
So one of the parts of our service that we do every day, every week that we are here, is we share with each other the joys and sorrows of our life. We do this, we say, because when we join together and share our sorrows, they are a little bit lighter. And when we join together and share what makes us joyful, well, that's when we're doing church. So, at this time, we'll hold some silence in the room. And if you would, speak the name of somebody that you are holding in sorrow this morning, or write it into the live chat, and I'll read it into the microphone. Who are we holding in sorrow as we gather?
People of Florida.
The people of Florida. Mark. Scott. Benny. Sherman. D. Lewis. Paris. Ukraine.
For the 5 families that have lost their loved ones this morning.
There was an accident in North Lincoln this morning,
56th and Randolph.
56th and Randolph. So we hold those families in our hearts. Uncle George.
70 years of animals I said goodbye to.
70 years of saying goodbye to animals.
You get a hug.
Oh, we'll get there. That's not a sorrow, though. Sorrow is not the only story. Even in our sorrow, Khalil Gibran says we are weeping for that which has been our delight. There are sorrows in the live chat, that Wendy is heartsore and a sorrow for Lauren. But what are the joys that we are carrying today? What are the joys that we bring to this time together? Bailey. Aaron. We're going to get there, kiddo, I promise. The life of Reverend Nancy Erickson. Mickey Joseph's Triumph. Yes. Grandma turns 100. Beatrix. Leaving our windows open all night.
The life of Roger Welch.
The life of Roger Welch. Yes, indeed. Who I learned yesterday has some connections to this congregation.
A wonderful turnout yesterday for our show up.
A wonderful turnout yesterday for our show up event.
70 years of sharing joy with animals.
70 years of sharing joy with animals. And there are joys in the live stream as well. Joy for everyone who is vaccinated and supports the importance of public health, Jeffrey Lusk writes. A joy from Marcia Cedardahl that Ray is doing well. And a joy from Judy Kelly, a wonderful taste of UCL yesterday. Okay, at this point I'm going to editorialize a little while. Because I have a joy that Ailish keeps like jumping the gun on. So, so most of you know Stacy, my wife. I will just say that it is an amazing thing to be married to somebody who is such a good partner, who is such a kind and gentle and very, very game partner. Who puts up with me, who puts up with Ailish, who is doing amazing, amazing things this year. I can't say them from the pulpit, but ask her about what she's up to at coffee hour. It is also Stacy's birthday today. So, if you would all indulge me by rising in body or in spirit and singing our next hymn. Thank you. There are other joys that Cornell is out of ICU, and a joy for Marcia Cedardahl for our beautiful grandchildren. There's another particular sorrow that we want to highlight in this service, and that we already have. It is a hard truth of being human that we know that we are alive and someday we will not be. And that we know that those around us will not be someday. So the pets that we have lost in childhood or in the last week are with us in the stories we tell and the joy that they still bring us. So into this shared silence, you're invited to speak the name of a companion you are missing this morning. Butch. Abigail. I am not going to be able to repeat all these names. So if you just share them into this shared silence. If you ever wonder about why we do this service, remember that 20 seconds. May their memories be a blessing. Also, Juno and Levi.
Morning sun break through the goldenrod, bullfrog croaking from the pond. Take me back to the hills of sand, fly me home to my mother's land. And the meadowlark sings, Niobrara flowing strong, carry me back to Tinge the prairie sky with sunlight. Fireflies swinging higher and higher. Stars and moon in celestial dance, hovering far above my home, above my home.
And the meadowlark sings of a family of harmony, unyielded wing.
And the meadowlark sings
Of a family of harmony,
back to her home. And the meadowlark sings
of a family of harmony,
ungilded wing. And the meadowlark sings of her family of harmony back to her home. Oh, 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 back to her back to her home, back to her back to her home, back to her home.
I was invited to speak briefly in relation to the Pledge Month kickoff this month, and wanted to give you just a little bit of my history with Unitarian Universalism. I was recruited in 1975 when I lived in Florence, Alabama, after I grew up in the Southern Baptist Church and left the church. Excuse me. And so I was invited to attend a fellowship there and discovered that it was a good fit for me. So I was there like 8.5 years, and I moved to Baltimore, Maryland. And there I got to participate in a full-grown church with ministers and choir and music and a pipe organ. Yeah, you should check the old church, the historical church in downtown Baltimore, is where I was for like 4 years. So I was able to expand, my participation in music and performing in the choir, and sometimes for weddings and things like that, and also experience the professional leadership that you do in a church with a settled minister. So ended up moving to Wichita, Kansas in 1985, and there my first marriage dissolved, sadly, but I met a new wife. And that was Stephanie. I think a lot of you know Stephanie. And so we started the family there with Skylar. And then she drugged me to Lincoln because her family lives here. And she wanted to live here. So that was good. So, meanwhile, before we came up here, we actually had Keelan when we were still in, we were in Beatrice, and then we came to Lincoln. So all of that being said, I've had a few years of experience with Unitarian Universalism, and I just wanted to reflect on what that all means to me. And I'll say, briefly, it's given me fellowship throughout the years in a loving community. And the community is strong. It's good to have community. I've gained intellectual growth through professional leadership and lay leadership. And I've gained spiritual growth. And being a Unitarian Universalist is a constant reminder that I don't need a creed to foster my spiritual growth. Another thing I do here is open circles, and I encourage people to check those out. They're very meaningful. You get to know people, you get to hear their stories and share their ideas. And so all along the way, like I said, I've done a lot of music throughout, and that opportunity has expanded for me in this church. I've been in the choir. I led a children's choir in Wichita, Kansas. I was a founding member of the A Street Band here, and I also have the opportunity to perform, like today, with my family band and Bob Fusen in Fralin Hearts. So in terms of pledges, I would say give what we can. Times change. Sometimes you can't give as much as you'd like. From the church, I'd say take what you can and take what you like. Participate as much as you can by using your strengths and letting your dog bark whenever the dog feels like it. So all in all, I would say, the give and take of participation in the church plus what you take from the church, hopefully that all balances out.
Thank you for that excellent testimonial, Roger. We'll be hearing pledge drive testimonials throughout the month as each of us thinks about making our pledge to sustain the church's work in the following year. Now, each week we do take up an offering to support the congregation and our work in the world. And we always tell you there are 3 ways to give. Why 3? Because if you bring in a barrel of pennies, it's hard on our staff. So we want to encourage you to think about one of these 3 ways. You can place money in the bowls as they're being passed by the ushers. You could take out your cell phone and text UCL Lincoln and the amount you wish to give to 73256, or you can go online and donate through Realm on the church website. Your offering, in any way you choose to make it, including barrels of pennies, is gratefully received if the ushers would come forward to take up the collection and we enjoy more music from Lincoln's premier folk fusion Americana band, Fralin Hearts.
It all came apart. that's tight enough. Oh, time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. Now time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. I want to fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let my spirit carry me. I want to fly like an eagle until I'm free. Oh Lord, through the revolution. Feed the babies who don't have enough to eat. Shoe the children, no shoes on their feet. House the people living in the street. Oh, there's a solution. I want to fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let my spirit carry me. I want to fly like an eagle until I'm free. Oh Lord, through the revolution. Now feed the babies who don't have enough to eat. Shoe the children, no shoes on their feet. House the people living in the street. Oh, there's a solution. I want to fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let my spirit carry me. I want to fly like an eagle until I'm free. Oh Lord, through the revolution. Oh, time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. Said time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future.
So we have a responsive reading with 3 of us at 1 microphone, so we're going to juggle a little bit here. But after each line, if the gathered would say, we give thanks. So for instance, for dogs and cats, large and small.
We give thanks. For rabbits, hamsters, and guinea pigs. We give thanks.
For goldfish, guppies, and swimming creatures.
We give thanks.
For robins, wrens, and singing birds.
We give thanks. For raccoons, squirrels, and deer. We give thanks.
For horses, cows, and sheep.
For lizards, snakes, and creeping things.
For every animal in the sky, the sea, and the forest.
For every animal in the desert, on the mountain, on the farm, and in the field, for those in the home, apartment, and everywhere else. We give thanks.
If you would rise in body or in spirit and join in singing hymn number 203, All Creatures of the Earth and Sky.
Our reading today is from a UU minister of our time, noted for his books on eco-spirituality. Many of you know that I love my dog Lucy to pieces, but she would love to meet each and one of you, but she's not so great with other dogs. So I have brought with me my representation of Lucy, and I just got a kiss from Teddy, our ministerial dog, and so I feel blessed already. Reverend Gary Kowalski's writings on eco-spirituality include this piece called Dog Days. Everybody needs a spiritual guide, a minister, a rabbi, a priest, a therapist, or a wise friend. My wise friend is my dog. He has deep insights to impart. He makes friends easily, and he doesn't hold a grudge. He enjoys simple pleasures and takes each day as it comes. And like a true Zen master, he eats when he's hungry and he sleeps when he's tired. Best of all, he befriends me with an unconditional love that humans would do well to imitate. Of course, my dog does have his failings. He's afraid of firecrackers and hides in the closet whenever we run the vacuum cleaner. But unlike me, my dog is not afraid of what other people think of him or anxious about his public image. He does bark at the mail carrier and the newsboy, but in contrast to some people, he never growls at children or barks at his spouse. So my dog is a sort of guru. When I become too serious and preoccupied, he reminds me to frolic and play. When I get too wrapped up in abstractions and ideas, he reminds me to exercise and care for my body. In his own canine way, he shows me it might be possible to live uncomplicated, genuine, and glad to be alive. And with that, let us begin blessing those animals.
So there's an old joke, we'll say, as an introduction. It goes around a lot of different places. The characters change a little bit, but it usually goes something like this. There's this guy who waits for years to buy his dream car. In the joke, usually it's a Lamborghini, but this is a Unitarian church, so we'll say it's a Tesla. He finally shells out a fortune for it, recognizing the deeply felt significance of achieving his lifelong dream. He drives to a nearby church and knocks on the door. "Pastor, I was wondering if you would be willing to say a blessing on my Tesla." "Absolutely not," says the pastor, "a blessing for such an extravagance." "Sorry to have troubled you, preacher. I have a feeling you're not the right person for the job." The man apologizes and drives to a nearby synagogue where he asks the same question. "Rabbi, I was wondering whether you'd be willing to say a blessing on my Tesla." "Certainly," says the rabbi. "Teddy, sit. Good girl." "But what's a Tesla?" "Gosh, Rabbi, I guess you're not the right person for the job either." So he drives to his local UU congregation and finds the minister. I was wondering if you would be willing to say a blessing on my Tesla." "Certainly." "What's a blessing?" It's not a thing that we do that often. And yet, John O'Donohue, the Celtic spiritual author, writes in To Bless the Space Between Us that it would be infinitely lonely to live in a world without blessing. The word blessing evokes a sense of warmth and protection. It suggests that no life is alone or unreachable. A blessing, each life is clothed in raiment of spirit that secretly links it to everyone else. A blessing evokes a privileged intimacy. It touches that tender membrane where the human heart cries out to its divine ground. In the ecstasy and loneliness of one's life, there are certain times when blessing is nearer to us than any other person or thing. A blessing is not simply a sentiment or a question. It is an invitation. where the human heart pleads with the divine heart. So blessing is many things to many people, but it is not unknown here, despite what jokes might have us believe. I have been blessed many times in my life, sometimes by simply being present in certain moments, but also on days when I have been down and somebody has taken my hand, prayed, and said a blessing. To be seen, recognized, and blessed. That's simply a different way of saying, I see you, I love you, I want the best for you. So we call this service the blessing of the animals for two reasons. First, to recognize the blessing that animals can be in our lives, even as tiny agents of chaos sometimes. And second, to say a blessing for them. So for those on the live stream, it's going to have to be something that you do each in your own way. To bless is to be present and to appreciate. So maybe that looks like taking your pet hand in paw and saying, thank you for sharing this life with me. Maybe it looks like taking a walk this afternoon, listening to the autumn crickets and being present to the life around you. But for right now, for those of us here, it's being present in this moment. So if you're here with a furry, scaly, or other friend, you're invited to come forward. I wrote this not knowing who would come. I've been in services where people have brought in parakeets and snakes. So I think we're only dogs here today. Oh, there's a guinea pig. Yes. So in a moment, you'll be invited to come forward. You'll come up these two sides. Chelsea will be over here. I'll be over here. And then if you have a critter, not unlike my dog who's a little overexcited right now, you'll be invited to go down the center aisle and out onto our patio, where there is bags, resolve, and paper towels. All the things that we have to watch out for. And that actually will conclude our service. Because we didn't know how many people would be coming and how many people would be leaving at this point, this is the last part of our service. So, if you are here and you do not have a critter, you are invited to go forth. Excuse me for a second. Sit. Good girl. Good girl. That was very impressive. Dog just decided to slip her leash at that moment. Teddy, sit. Stay. Good girl. Anyway, that concludes our service. We will gather back next week. We will kick off the pledge campaign. We'll be out on the patio after the service. Go in peace, everybody, or come forward for a blessing. I think my dog is about to turn into a pumpkin, so I'll be right down there. Go in peace.
And we can bless you and you can pass that along.
Yes. If you have brought a picture of a pet, a stuffed animal, we will also do a blessing over that. Then you can pass it on when you get home. Or we can, if you're not wanting to wait in line, we can do blessings outside on the patio as well. All right. Go in peace, everybody, and amen. All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much.